Good evening, I'm Marinta Skupin and I'd like to welcome you to Laguna Beach Live, our monthly concert in partnership with Live at the Museum. We're recording tonight in one of the galleries of the museum where we've just opened a brand new exhibition of pieces from our permanent collection. While we can unfortunately not gather as an audience yet, I hope that you'll enjoy the combination of art and music as much as always, even though it will be virtual. And with that, with our sincere thanks to Laguna Beach Live for the wonderful partnership, I'll hand it over to Cindy.
Hi, I'm Cindy Pruitt, president of Laguna Beach Live, and we're so thankful to be here at the Laguna Art Museum and to have this opportunity to show you these wonderful musicians. We've been recording now since September, and of course we all want to do this live, but we are looking forward to a time when we can continue to do some recording and bring you great music for people who aren't able to leave home or can't leave home. So we hope this will be one of the silver linings of the pandemic and the lockdown. With that in mind, please look at our website, which is lagunabeachlive.org. You'll see other things we're doing, some live streaming, some Zoom meetings, and some of the music education programs that this group will be recording today and that we've been having them do all along. And of course, look at the Laguna Art Museum, and they have a lot of things that are going on here as well, including education. So I'm pleased to welcome the Los Angeles Wind Trio today. They're going to introduce themselves, their instruments, and tell you the program too. Thank you all for coming.
Good afternoon. Welcome. My name is Susan Greenberg, flute. This is Judith Farmer, bassoon, and Sergio Coelho, clarinet. And we have a varied program for you today for our three woodwinds. We've been playing together for a few years now as a trio, a quartet, a quintet, and even a piano sextet. So we've been in all different combinations. We would like to open our program with an arrangement. Some of the music we'll be doing on the program will be original for this instrumentation, but others, of course, are arranged. And we'd like to begin with two movements from a Telemann sonata. Telemann was a contemporary of Bach and Handel between 1681 and 1767. The first and last movement, the bassoon bass line, could have been done by a viola da gamba or a cello, and in this case, a bassoon. And the upper instruments would have been a violin, flute, or oboe, but in this case, welcome, a clarinet. Next, we'd like to play a work by Mozart, who was born right after Bach died, 1756 to 1792. This is the Overture to the Magic Flute Opera for 3 players. Actually, it's quite a nice arrangement, and we're going to play an excerpt from the Overture. The bassoon and the flute and the clarinet all imitate one another. You'll hear the original theme get passed around. Yes, I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Now we'd like to jump to the 21st century. We have a composer, Robert Muczynski. Yeah, 21st century, that's 2010 when he died. Was a Polish-American composer who received his BA and MA from Chicago University and was a professor at the University of Arizona since 1988. At age 29, he had a concert in Carnegie Hall, where he played piano and performed many of his own works. Major symphony orchestras have performed his works, and he wrote a fantastic flute sonata, among other chamber works. Today we're going to play 3 movements from a work called Fragments that was written for flute, clarinet, and bassoon. The first movement is called Waltz. The next movement we will play is Holiday. And the last movement, appropriate, is called Exit.
Hi everyone, Gernot Wolfgang here, composer of Uncle Bebop. Uncle Bebop is the first movement of 3 short stories, which I wrote in 2000 for my wife Judith Farmer and a friend of ours, the violist Brian Dembo. When I showed the finished piece to my publisher, they went like, wow, that's amazing, that rare combination of viola and bassoon, fantastic. But we also would like to sell some sheet music, so please arrange the piece for clarinet and bassoon and also for viola and violoncello. So I did, and all 3 versions ended up having a different character. The one that you hear today for clarinet and bassoon is probably the jazziest of the 3, and the one for viola and cello is the most classically sounding. So why the name Uncle Bebop? If you listen to the first 15 seconds of the piece, you could be tempted to think that you know exactly why it's named that way. Because if you imagined an acoustic bass and a drum set behind the 2 musicians, you would have a perfectly valid neo-bebop tune. However, that's not the way it went. Rather, Judy and I went on a road trip to southern Utah around the time when I was writing the piece, and we ended up in Moab. And there, on the parking lot of a supermarket, I saw a coffee stand with a big sign reading Uncle Bebop's Serious Starting Fluids. And that tickled me. I went up, had a chat with Uncle Bebop, the coffee was great, and I decided there and then to name the movement Uncle Bebop. So that's the story, and I hope you'll enjoy the movement. Thank you.
Our next work is by another local composer, Charles Fernandez. He's an Emmy and Annie Award nominee and has composed for various TV film series such as Aladdin and Little Mermaid, and movies such as 101 Dalmatians that I actually played on. He's a bassoonist and a composer, and among his many classical compositions is the one we are performing 2 movements from. It is called Americana, and the first movement is a march, and the second movement we're doing is called a frolic, full of lots of color and rhythm. We're going to go back in time now to François Devienne, who lived between 1759 and 1803. He was actually a professor of flute at the Paris Conservatory, and he was born 11 years before Beethoven. And you know what? I'm going to let Judy tell you more about Devienne.
Devienne was a very prolific composer, particularly of chamber music for winds. He was a virtuosic flutist and bassoonist. He had positions in orchestras for both instruments, and he wrote over 300 chamber works for winds and 5 bassoon concertos. And one of them, for a long time, was thought to be by Mozart. He and Mozart were pretty exact contemporaries. So
we're going to play the Rondo from Trio No. 2, Opus 61, also written originally for flute, clarinet, and bassoon. Composition, we would like to play a work by Beethoven. He lived from 1770 to 1827, and these are variations on the theme Laci darem la mano, which is from Mozart's Don Giovanni, the words of which were, "Give me thy hand, O fairest, whisper a gentle yes, come, if for me thou carest with joy my life to bless." You'll hear a theme and a set of 7 variations and a coda. This was originally written for
2 oboes and English horn.
2 oboes and English horn, and it's been arranged for flute, clarinet, and bassoon.
Thank you.